Hey everybody, today I saw The Hustle, directed by Chris Addison, starring Rebel Wilson, Anne Hathaway, and Alex Sharp. This movie is a soulless, joyless, particularly shot-for-shot remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels from 1988. The comedy is bad, the casting is bad, and the script is bad in my opinion. I think the original is a fine movie. The first half is a little slow and lackluster, but the back half is where the movie gets particularly good in my opinion. That case is the same for this movie. The first half is bad and weird, but the back half is some okay fun. Unfortunately, a lot of the jokes and the story is particularly the same from the first one. Or practically the same. Sorry, I read the wrong word. The things that are changed do not work as well as the original. In the first movie, Steve Martin pretends to be a paralyzed sailor, while Rebel Wilson in this movie pretends to be a blind person to get a con. And the movie does the same exact gags, and it does not work in the same way. A lot of the jokes that are centered around this particular circumstance of what they're trying to do to get the money from this person is just replicated and not changed at all to fit the new story. They do the same exact gags and jokes to Rebel Wilson as they did to Steve Martin as he was blind. And in a way, knowing how it worked out in that first one, it doesn't work out the same or doesn't get the same reaction as it does for this one. This very easily could have taken this movie in a different direction that would have been relatively interesting. I like Anne Hathaway, and I think that Rebel Wilson in this movie is okay, and in other movies she's okay. I'm not quite sure how she keeps getting roles, however, leading roles I should say, because every movie she does seems to do poorly to okay at the box office. They don't seem to bring in a whole lot of money. And her movies never particularly seem to be very good. And this one included. They could have put a different spin on this movie. They could have put it in a different direction instead of doing the same jokes and same gags and practically the same plot and everything as the first one. The source material is the same as this one. It's practically a carbon copy. It's joyless. There's really not that much fun for me to have with it, except for the second half, where I did find myself for a solid 5-10 minutes kind of enjoying myself, shockingly. Then that quickly went away again, unfortunately. But the casting, however, it could have been better in my opinion. Sharp's character feels like it was written for Thomas Middleditch, and they, for some reason, could not get him. He must have been busy filming Replicants or Godzilla King of the Monsters or maybe Silicon Valley Season 6 for some reason. But the movie seemed to be focused and almost like they wanted to get him, but they didn't. So it feels like his character is written to be a different person. It just feels a little weird in my opinion. But Rebel Wilson plays a schlubby American like Martin did in the original, and Hathaway plays an experienced British con woman like Michael Caine did. However, why couldn't Hathaway have just played the American? She is American after all, and I like her playing roles where she's a bit of the more unexpected person, where she's not the expert per se. She has a terrible British accent in this movie, but I really would have liked to have seen her in the role that Rebel Wilson played. And given the fact that Rebel Wilson is British and has a British accent throughout this movie, it feels a little jarring that she would come in and play an American. You would just feel like, why did you have to switch those roles or just make Wilson the British one that's coming in and trying to be the new con woman and get trained by Hathaway and make Hathaway the experienced American con woman? It just feels a little weird and feels a little bit off, where the casting could have been better all around. But overall, this movie just fell flat for me. There was nothing I particularly hated about it, but nothing I particularly loved. I didn't laugh or really have any fun with it, but it also didn't piss me off like most movies I've seen so far this year. It's kind of just a nothing movie. It will come for a forgotten movie, and I can see this movie being consistently played on TBS in 3 years, where it's being played 2 or 3 times a weekend. It's one of those movies. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing bad about it. It's just a nothing movie, and it's going to come and go as quickly as it did, and it'll be forgotten just the same way. I'm going to get a flat, even 5 out of 10, because that's all this movie is.